What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Practical channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. QTEs in Marvel Spider-Man 2. I made a video where I talked about how I thought the QTE event in Marvel Spider-Man 2 seemed to be a little weird because the game kind of takes away a lot of player agency for you, and the QTE events don't necessarily seem to have any consequences in a sense. And in this video, I got a lot of pushback. In fact, I went back and I looked through, and some people said you can turn off the quick time events, and some people even said this is not a game where you actually have the option to choose and all of that stuff. So I started to actually question myself, and I said, you know what? Maybe this is just me being, someone who's picky in a sense. I kind of, in a sense, went back and said, let me reflect on all that. And then something happened. Apparently, Batman Arkham Knight is supposed to get the Batman skin added to the Epic Games version. So I went and downloaded and started playing Arkham Knight. This is where the thing happened. And I got to a place where there was a QuickTime event, and I kind of thought, I said, have I ever tried to ignore this QuickTime event to see if there's a consequence at the end? And for sure I had. So I wasn't crazy. I just had been spoiled by another video game that did something of that nature that actually had a consequence tied to it. So this is where the intelligence of Rocksteady's design actually came out to shine. You see, this particular scene where Miles is supposed to help Peter punch this huge propeller for this ship, if not, civilians are going to get chewed, is one where they actually call you into the event. It's a very high stakes moment. I felt like they would have really knocked it out the park if they added this one element. And this is for the future. I understand that the team in Insomniac have done such a great job, but right now they're at game number 3. So we can actually start asking for much more interesting player engaging aspects of their games. It's not out of the question. I think if there was a fail-safe mechanic or a fail mechanic here, it would have really opened up the door, because in this aspect of the Batman game, when you come out with Poison Ivy, one of the very first things that you will notice is these guys hold you at gunpoint, and they are not only just, going to provide you a fail mechanism. They're going to give you multiple checkpoints to see if you're actually going to answer. In fact, they start out with Poison Ivy taunting you as Batman, saying, are you just going to stand there? And then the bad guys taunting you and saying, oh, you must be scared. We just trained for nothing. And then eventually they'll shoot you dead if you don't push that QTE, because they want to raise the stakes of this moment. Whereas in the Insomniac game, I saw people even tell me, shame on me. Somebody called me a fool for not even completing this aspect of the game, which is a tutorial aspect, whereas that aspect in the Arkham games is actually a tutorial aspect itself. So again, I think some people are not paying attention to what we're saying. Those of us who are not Spider-Man fans, some people they're reading everything as hate or, you're nitpicking. No. I don't do that. I sat down to take 2 years of my life and even sacrificed a lot of really interesting things to learn about game development. So I don't really care about all of this so-called hate that people are throwing around. I'm here for us to genuinely see if we can add to gaming conversations to see if games can improve. Because Wolverine is coming very soon. That is my favorite Marvel superhero, or one of my favorite Marvel superheroes. In fact, if I were to rank my superheroes, Wolverine is just close to Superman. There's Batman, Superman, and I think it's Wolverine next, or Wonder Woman somewhere. Wonder Woman's in my top 5, but those ones, I don't play around with them. And it would be nice to be able to see a game that raises the stakes, that, does little things, that holds the player into the engagement in the sense where they know, the stakes are high here. Another fail-safe mechanism that, I've seen Rocksteady implement is in the Arkham games. They not only did it in Arkham Knight, they started kind of messing with this stuff. And I can remember in Arkham City, when the game starts out and you are, you're tied to a chair, Bruce Wayne's tied to a chair, they do something really interesting where he tries to break out. They tell you to shake your chair. If you don't shake your chair, you're not going anywhere. You're just going to sit there and you're just going to be watching, right? But when you start to shake your chair and you start to move out of the, place and you fall, a guard detects it, walks in, and the guard tries to kick you. You have 2 choices. Number 1, you can counter. They tell you, hey, counter, or the guard kicks you, and when you counter, you steal something from the guard. But what if you don't counter? What happens? So I stayed there and I let it play out. Apparently the guard just continues to kick you and beat on you, and at first I was watching going, is this going to play on and over and over? And then I realized that they added elements to this, straight up butt whooping that this guard is giving you to make it somewhat agitating. Like the camera is shaking, everything is so inconvenient, and he's just beating on you. And you're just like, well, what the heck? And there seems to have been a lot of intention that went into testing this out to make it seem like, okay, I'm done with this. And then you counter him and then you bust his nose with basically a headbutt. It's such an interesting, set of parameters. Not only do they do it in this part, then they tell you, okay, someone comes in, smashes his head to the glass, says, okay, make your way to line B, right? Bruce Wayne, make your Mr. Wayne to line B. And then if you don't go to line B, what does he do? He whacks you with the butt of his gun. You go to some of the guards and you walk the wrong direction. What do? They whack you with their gun. There are mechanisms that are saying to go ahead and do this. And these are soft fail-safes that actually put in there that allows the game to feel, like more of a high stakes, situation. So when we think about this stuff, I think we have to come to this whole conversation with our minds and not worry about our emotions. Marvel Spider-Man is fine. It's going to be a good game. But what would happen if the game could be better than what it already is? Have you thought about that? Because I'm actually putting these commentaries out because I strongly believe that Insomniac is capable of taking things to a whole different level. Someone had to take the torch from Rocksteady. And thankfully, it just happened to be Insomniac at the right place at the right time. And if Insomniac, if y'all don't want to do it, hey, they're Monolith. You're out there working on Wonder Woman, right? Well, I guess maybe somebody may be scouring social media and hopefully they see a video like this. Y'all do it. If the Insomniac fans think that Spider-Man is beyond reproach and cannot be improved in any way, well, okay, sit down. Let the game be perfect in your eyes. But another game's going to come in and another game is actually going to do a great job. And that's what we're here for. The superhero games community is in a position where they can really take their gaming experience to a whole different level because it's a very niche area. I hope you know that. It's not a COD type seller. Spider-Man is just riding on the wings of Spider-Man and Batman for the most part. And if you notice, many other superhero games don't seem to have pushed the envelope past the more popular names. Guardians of the Galaxy tried it. Didn't really work out. Marvel's Avengers tried to use it as a monetization platform, and that didn't even work out. So you really have to get tried and true experiences, and having these tried and true experiences be something that is, in my opinion, full to the brim with all kinds of really interesting gameplay mechanics really does, in my opinion, go crazy. I think even, and I go all the way down to this to even go ahead and cite the whole QTE thing or whatnot. But, these are all gameplay mechanics that are set up in different ways. But at the end of the day, I really want to encourage fans to, be very careful whenever they hear anything critical about a game or may seem critical and not categorize it to hate. Just listen first. You'll see that there's much that we have to benefit from one another in these conversations. Because I see a lot of people saying that this is a hate campaign, this is a smear campaign and all of that. But in reality, that's not necessarily what's going on. We need more adults in the room. I think what might be happening is something that somebody fears and has been saying in the comment section, but I don't want to take the general outlook because I know there's a plethora of people playing these games. Seems like a lot of young people who've been playing a lot of these new games, seem to not have really engaged in some of the classics that really were doing some cool stuff even before we got the Arkham games. You have to understand that there are dozens of superhero games that existed before the Arkham games and many Spider-Man games that have also existed. So a lot of the systems that you're seeing here in the, Insomniac games, they're not really new. Overall, they're just improved versions of what's already been done in a sense, if you get what I mean. And that's what we need, the improved versions, because you can't even, I don't know if you can dream of a world where there's an improved version of a Spider-Man game, but the next generation that's going to be making video games, they're going to be receiving the torch and they're going to get the job done. And it is from what is going on today and what has gone on in the past games that really have held critical acclaim that's going to influence those games to be better later on. This is my video. Thanks for watching. Peace out.